Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Basketball, TITTH number 154. I'm your host, Justin Bruni. I have Stephen Hammond with me tonight. How are we doing, sir? Happy hump day.
Happy hump day. How's it going?
Pretty good. Can't complain. How's your week going so far?
Hey, it's going good, and we're inching towards the weekend. So that's all I can wish for.
Yeah, you still dealing with some heavy heat out there in Illinois?
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly just been steady for all of this week and last weekend. We could definitely use some rain.
Oh, we just got a ton of rain out here in Maryland. It actually helped with the cicadas a little bit, so that was nice.
Yeah.
They literally drowned out all of the noise, so I didn't hate that so much. Really wet and sticky out because right after it's super freaking hot. Everyone's saying they're seeing all black for some reason. Oh, now Emron says all good. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, nice little change up. It's not so loud outside. The cats aren't banging on the windows to eat all these cicadas. So that's been a nice little change of pace. But yeah, action's been good. NBA, NHL alike. We're getting down to the wire here for both hockey and basketball. Only about a handful of episodes left for each show. So getting excited. But man, wow, pretty crazy start to the day with all these injuries in the NBA. What's going on, man?
Yeah, you just saw it. Literally, it's like Woj bomb after Woj bomb after Woj bomb today.
Right? Yeah, I don't know what's going on out there, but I'll tell you what I didn't like, because injuries happen. They come up all the time. But the self-proclaimed king of the NBA, LeBron James, this guy, man, he's getting to be a little bit too much. I got to go through this a little bit. So last night was it last night that he dropped this during the KD game?
No. So what he dropped last night was middle of KD's stellar performance. He dropped that because he got nominated to do his 17th, which is the most all time. So pat yourself on the back a bit. But middle of Durant, I think this is in the fourth. He drops 17 of 18 All-Star or All-NBA appearances with the crown that he always does. I don't know if he threw a goat in there or whatever. But It's like, dude, let KD have his moment. The man's going absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, that's too much. But this morning, after the fact, after all these injuries were dropped, this guy comes out saying, I knew exactly what would happen. I only wanted to protect the well-being of players, which ultimately is the product and benefit of our game. These injuries isn't just part of the game. It's a lack of pure RIM rest, whatever the hell that is. I have no idea.
Right.
Before starting back up, 8, possibly 9 All-Stars have missed playoff games, the most in NBA history. Guy, probably the biggest name that we're missing tonight is Kawhi Leonard, and potentially going forward is Kawhi Leonard. How many games does a man have to sit out? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
what
52.
Are you saying?
I think he played 52 of the 72. For a max deal player, I think that's a pretty good deal you're getting there. You're raking in cash.
I don't understand it whatsoever. All right, now let's move on to Chris Paul, probably the next biggest name, right? The guy's going to be out 10 days, maybe 14 days at most. What are you talking about, LeBron? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Trae Young, Joel Embiid, they're playing. They're not even out of the game. They're not even sitting. Who's he talking about? Danny Green? Who is he talking about? Who is he referencing?
I really have no idea at all. I mean, with Chris Paul, I do think we see him come back. I mean, I'm sure the Suns are hoping that, just to be a little bit precautionary, that this Clippers Jazz series maybe goes 7. I don't know with Kawhi, we'll have to see. I'm sure we'll probably dive into that, but I don't know. I don't know what LeBron. I just think he likes to hear himself talk.
A lot of attention. I mean, something's got to keep the lights on at these schools that he's building, and it's got to be the Instagram bill. It's got to be, because I don't understand this. You referenced it while we were talking a little bit earlier. The number change, I lost a playoff series. I'm not going to the finals for the second time in 11 years or 12 years. I better change my number. Yeah. I better change my number. I better grab these people's attention, like you said, during KD's big moment last night while he's just absolutely going off, dropped 49 points. It's ridiculous.
49, today, 17, and 10.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Today, all these injuries pop up. He's like, well, I'm the GOAT. I better have a say about this. Hit the Instagram. It's ridiculous. It is just a little bit too much, but it's at the focal point of all the talk today in the NBA. So I felt like I had to get it off my chest, had to get that out there. But let's get into tonight's action. Let's dive into our best bets. What do you got in the books tonight, Steve?
All right, so I have Ben Simmons to earn a double-double. I think this is, and we'll touch on this too more. I think the Sixers are out for blood. Donovan Mitchell over 4.5 3-pointers. Number had been at 3.5 all series, and he's been killing it. Last game he had 6 on 15 attempts. So really, the shot attempts are there, and he's on fire. And then my last one, I got Bogdanovich for the Hawks over 24.5 points and rebounds. Last game, I think he finished with about 27. I'm all over that one.
I like it. Mine tonight, I am going Seth Curry over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists, plus Clint Capella under 12.5 rebounds. Clint Capella has hit that number twice in the series, 2 out of 4. Missed it on the first 2 games, hit it in the last 2 games. So I'm turning the truck around and just flipping the script on that one. Seth Curry can hit this total on points alone. So I'm loving that one. If you guys do not have an online sportsbook or a sportsbook in general, be sure to check out jazzsports.ag. You can use our promo code to the Hizzy, and they'll give you a nice little bonus if you spend like $100. They'll double down on that. All right, let's jump into tonight's action here. Let's see. I don't think they've changed the lines really since the last time I saved them. We got the Hawks going to Philly. Road dogs plus 7.5 on the spread. Over unders at 224.5, and they are plus 245 on the money line. 76ers minus 320. Where are you going at with this one, Steve? Where's your money at?
So my money at, so we're talking about Sixers, correct?
Sixers and Hawks, yes, sir.
Yeah.
7.5 point spread.
So this is tough just because I'm all over the Sixers. I think that this is going to be heavy them. I would probably be intrigued maybe to buy the Sixers down maybe a point or two just because these games have been a little bit of has been close. So I buy that one down, but I'm all over the Sixers there. If we're looking at the total, I think I'm going to go with the under on this one.
Yeah, I like the under as well, but I'm actually going to have Atlanta cover. I still think it may be a closer game, and they've covered 3 out of 4 games in this series so far, so they've kept them close. When Philly has won, there's been some bigger margins. When they're losing, obviously I think they've lost by like 7 points total. 3 points in the last game, 4 points in game 1. So I do think that the Hawks are going to keep this one close because I think they feel like if they win tonight, it's over. They go back home. They go back home to Atlanta, and they even come back to 76ers again, even if they lose at home, where they've already beaten the 76ers. We have Trae Young hobbled. We've got Embiid hobbled. I guess we'll just kind of jump in on their monkey knife fight props. We're looking at 29.5 points for Embiid, 27.5 for Trae Young. I like the unders for both, to be honest.
Yeah. I like the under for sure on Trae Young. I think Joel Embiid kind of needs a bounce back game from how he finished the last one. Earlier in the game, I think they had like a 10-point lead at one point, and then towards the end of the game, he kind of fizzled out. This is one I do like him just to dominate. I think, like I said, I think that the Sixers at home are going to be able to overpower this team. I think Philly fans, I think they're going to play an impact. So I'll go over on Embiid, under on Trae Young.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that the injuries play a little bit of a role here, and they can both still have good games and not hit over those numbers. And I'm taking the under on the game in general. So I could still see like, a 107, 102 win, for the 76ers here. So that's just where I'm going to chase with that trend. In the game, I did take Philly money line. I got them at about minus 265 before the number really dove. Right now, they're at minus 320, so I got some really good value there. So I'm happy about that. I didn't bet on the under. I like it, but you just really never know with either of these teams because they have shooters. Both teams can score in bunches. So I didn't really want to flirt with it, and I didn't want to play with the spread because it's still the Hawks. They're still on the road. like you said, maybe the 76ers really just blow this one out. So my favorite bet was the 76ers on the money line. I did parlay that with my next pick in the next game. We'll get to that here in a second. But what are your keys for success for either team? What do both teams need to do to get the win tonight, whether it's Atlanta here on the road or 76ers at home?
For the Sixers, at home, I think that they just need to play, and I know this is, of course, but they need to play a complete game. They can't, they have to be out and dominant from the jump, really win, don't close out the first half, in a slow fashion, and second half too, right out of the gate. That third quarter sometimes could be an issue. And so they definitely need to just play consistently throughout the entire game. And I don't really think they have a problem. I think they're going to feed off that crowd. I mean, that's one thing. I guess, crowd needs to get into it and really play a factor. For the Hawks, I think that they need to get some of those other guys, aside from Trae Young, involved. I guess you could even say some of the bench players, Herter, people like that. They just need to make sure they're getting them their shots. Ball movement will be big for them because they can shoot, and sometimes when they're hitting, then it opens up that extra pass or a real quick look in the post with John Collins. So I think that's probably keys for the Hawks to win the game.
I gotcha. I need a little bit better 3-point shooting from Trae Young and Bogdanovich. Now, maybe that doesn't mean make more. Maybe that just means shoot a few less risky 3-point shots.
Yeah, be more efficient.
Trae Young, 31% from 3-point line. Bogdanovich, 36%. Now, it's not bad when you look at it because honestly, it's what's keeping them in the games. But at the same time, there's just one too many risky ones. There's one too many. Just they're obviously getting forced to shoot over the top, which is great because Philly's been playing great defense the entire series, and I know that we both picked them to take the win in the series. But at the same time, they've still got a lot of upside to close this one out. If they can just get a little bit more efficiency from the 3-point line, I think that they could stretch this to 7 games. For Philly, it's the free throw line, and really, it's just Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is 8 for 25 from the line in this series. If he makes his free throws in game 1, this series is over. If he makes his, I guess game 1 and 4, because we've only played 4 games. If he makes his free throws in games 1 and 4, we're not even talking about this game tonight. It's over with. You're losing a game by 3. You're losing a game by 4, and you're missing 4 free throws, 8, 9 free throws. There's your win, guys. There's your series.
And agreed. And to touch on that also, I think Ben Simmons, we saw him in an earlier game. I don't know which one it was in the series, maybe the second, I want to say. Not 100% sure, but he put up a stat line of 4, 3, and 7. He's got it on 35 minutes. In 35 minutes, he got to be way more involved. I get it. Strength of his is defense, so he's always good for that. But you need to be, 10 points. With the time he's getting on the court, he just needs to be able to put in double-digit points.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, he's the 4th highest scorer on the team. Or no, actually, I think he's 5th now.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's 4th. It's Curry and Harris are right ahead of him, and then it's Embiid. So, yeah, he does need to do a little bit more. They do have Danny Green hurt, who obviously that's who LeBron was talking about this morning. Big X factor for the 76ers. Whatever. He's going to be out. I think he played a little bit of the last game and he got pulled. But regardless, he wasn't having a good series. So I guess maybe Furkan Korkmaz can give him a little bit of upside here. But yeah, I think Simmons has kind of been a shell of himself so far in the series. The assists and the defense are there, but the offense just isn't enough, in my opinion. And honestly, he's shooting, fair percentage from the floor. Obviously not from 3-point land. He doesn't shoot any. From the floor, he's shooting, 67%. That's great. That's great. Just take more, inside shots. And to his not to knock him too much here because we're kind of just sending him down the hill here. He's the reason they lost the last game. He was right under the basket. They lost the possession because Simmons. Yeah, he's the reason they lost the last game.
I guess maybe if you're singling out a play, but he had damn near a triple-double. So I think he also kind of kept them there. But I do see what you're saying. Late in the game, he made some mental errors and things like that.
The free throws aren't there. He makes his free throws in that game. They win the game. That play at the end of the game, he just loses the ball. Literally, it comes down and he just literally it looks like he swats it out of bounds, in my opinion. And they're going to review it. I'm like, I don't know why they're reviewing it. The man just swatted the ball out of bounds. Like, what are you doing, Ben Simmons? Yeah, mental awareness. Get it checked out, Ben Simmons. Come on. Act like you haven't dated a Jenner before. My goodness. Yeah, those are my keys for both teams. I still think Philly takes it home tonight. I think Atlanta's going to keep it close. Do you have anything to close that one out?
On this one, no. I think we hit really a lot of it right on the head.
All right, right on. So the next game we got, obviously, is the Clippers and the Jazz. Excuse me. Clippers, 8-point dogs on the road. 219 is the over-under. 219.5, excuse me. Clippers are plus 270 on the money line. Jazz, heavy favorites at minus 345. I mean, do you have any optimism about the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard here?
I mean, I think this is really going to be a game that either exposes Paul George for being a fraud, like we've seen a lot from him lately, dating back to even last year. I don't think they got any chance, really.
What about in the series? I mean, maybe they don't win tonight. They're still playing on the road. They go back home. Maybe they figure it out. Are we looking at 7 games, or is it over here? No, it's 2-2, so we still need 2 games regardless.
Yeah, so 6 or 7 we're looking at. I'm going to give the Clippers just because they are a decent team with a little bit of depth of players. I mean, a couple games ago, we saw Reggie Jackson really step it up and keep them in the game, whether it be, driving and then shooting. So I'm going to give the Clippers and Paul George benefit of the doubt, for one game, whichever one it may be. I'm not quite sure. I don't think it'll be tonight. I think if anything, it'll be the next game. So I'll go Jazz in 7.
Cormats with a 3 to start the game. Cormats with a 3. Yeah, I'm still going to go in 6. I do think that the Jazz can beat them on the road. I mean, the Jazz, they haven't been great in the past 2 games. They started off with a 2-0 lead. Clippers, rally back. But without Kawhi, I mean, you have to make up 23% of your offense. You mentioned Reggie Jackson. I think he's a candidate to do it. Any upside for DeMarcus Cousins, Marcus Morris?
I mean, I would love to see them roll out DeMarcus Morris a little bit more. We see him get
DeMarcus Cousins.
DeMarcus Cousins. Wrong sport. But I think we need to see him. I mean, I get it with his past and history with injuries, things like that. You don't want to run him too much. But, hey, this is going to be do or die for you now. I mean,
run him. Yeah, if he dies, he dies. It's the playoffs.
I think, if you see him, they give him like 8 minutes a game. And I think if you were seeing it, you'd want to see him 12, 15 maybe, especially when they've been lacking that post presence that really protects the rim, things like that, kind of can bully guys around down there defensively. I think this is a game where Luke Kennard, we got to see it come out. We got to see it come out, maybe drop 20 if they want a chance.
I think he's still coming off the bench. I think Terrence Mann is going to start at the 2, but I would like to see some more time for Luke Kennard. Hey, I don't know. Why was Luke Kennard sitting to start the playoffs? I don't know.
Because I think Terrence Mann, if I'm not wrong, he didn't do much at all in their last game.
I mean, he hasn't been great in the series regardless. I can pull up some of his numbers here, but I just don't think that they're deep enough. Guys that I could see step up, kind of fill in that percentage, that 23% share of the offense. Reggie Jackson, DeMarcus Cousins, Marcus Morris, who is shooting a lot of 3-pointers, but he's not making a lot of 3-pointers. Paul George, if he can somehow figure out how to not turn the ball over. The guy is just a turnover machine in this series and just in general in the playoffs. I don't trust him. I don't think there's any reason to trust the Clippers right now. The odds have been adjusted for their playoff run here. Let's see. They're at plus 1,200 now to win the championship. The only team with worse odds are the Atlanta Hawks at plus 4,000. And we don't have a Western Conference prop right now. I think they're trying to wait for that for the Paul situation. They want that to clear up, so they're not giving us a prop for that. But to win the championship, they're now the second least likely to do it. So I don't really have any faith in them. I hammered down on Utah. I got them at 315, and now it's at minus 345. So I got a little bit better value before it really sank down. The team in general is 11-9 without Kawhi this season. that doesn't really give me a lot of optimism to throw any money their way on a plus option. If you believe in the Clippers tonight, plus 270 is a great number. If you know something that we don't, we'd love to hear it in the chat or, just share it on social, whatever. Tag us in it. Hey, these guys are idiots. This is why the Clippers are going to win. Whatever it is, I'd love to hear it. For me, Utah, they just need to keep doing what they're doing and play better perimeter defense. That's about it. In the last 2 games, the Clippers shot over 40% from 3-point line. In the first 2 games, they didn't. They shot 38% or less. So to me, just keep doing what you're doing. They shoot a lot of threes. They play at a great pace. A lot of buckets in transition. In general, they play great defense. But like I said, the perimeter shooting has just been a little bit better from the Clippers on the past couple of games. Obviously, that was with Kawhi. Mm-hmm. Kawhi only had about 7 3-pointers made in the series regardless. So it's not like he was hitting a bunch. So really we're talking about, your Luke Kennards and your Reggie Jacksons. Lock those guys down and we should be running away with the minus 8.5. I mean, what do you think about that spread? Is that fair enough without Kawhi? I think it's a pretty good number.
I think it's a good number also. I mean, I think the Jazz are a team that they from start to finish have been just one of the best teams in the NBA. And we've seen the Clippers struggle mightily at times, and now you're taking away their best player, and it's going to be an issue. I think that's really going to be an issue. Real quick, just to go back on that Terrence Mann post, he's got in this series, he got 8 minutes played the first game, 1 the second game, 22 the next, and then 15. So I just don't really see it. His plus minus, he's been positive this entire series. But I just, that's a head scratcher to me. Most points he's had all postseason, and it was in the closing game versus Dallas, was 13, which I know that someone like Luke Kennard is going to offer a lot more for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, must be an honorary start. An Alfred Payton start, I guess. I don't really understand. Again, this is an expected lineup. It's not confirmed just yet. Joel Embiid was, game time decision, even though we all knew he was going to play, like all day. So it's just the expected lineup. I'm not really sure what they're going to do with that. I don't really care who's starting, whether it's Kennard or Mann. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that they're kind of stripped of their identity because it's also Kawhi. One thing he does is their floor spacing with Kawhi. I mean, you can get some of those kickouts and things like that, and you're going to be lacking it because, I mean, you could do it to Paul George, but I don't know if you necessarily have to worry about him driving as much like someone like Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi, I think, was averaging 30 points per game this series.
He had 109 points total. I know that because him and Paul George both have exactly 109 points in this series.
Oh, wow.
An extra 109 points is going to be tough to make up across another, 3 games between the players that they have. So I just don't think help is on the way. What do you think about the Monkey Knife Fight props in this one? We got Donnie Mitchell at 34.5 and Paul George at 29.5. I like the unders for both players again in this one. I kind of like the under 219 or no, what am I saying? The total is going to go over because the Jazz are going to carry it. They're going to carry the number. I could see like a 126 to 100 type of game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I do think maybe the Clippers make kind of a late push to kind of bring up that number, make up some of that number late. But Donovan, if I had to pick an over for one of them, I'm going Donovan Mitchell. We've just seen him really kind of show how much of a star he is. 34.5 to me is a little high. I was seeing it on another book at 32.5. So I think I probably have to go the under on both as well. But I don't think there's a shot in hell that Paul George goes over.
No, I agree with you. And the Mitchell number is just too tall for me because they just have so many shooters there. They have so many scores. So I'm going to go to the under on both again, which is not very normal for my selections on monkeyknifefight.com.
I was going to say you went all 4 unders on the last game of this one. Okay.
That's not normal. That's not a normal thing for me. So maybe don't do it. I don't know. All right. Next and last game up is tomorrow's game. We've got the Nets and the Bucks here. We just saw, a wild game. We had Kyrie go down. We were missing no Kyrie. We got James Harden back, but he was a shell of himself, shooting 1 for 10 from the field. But we get KD dropping those 49 points, rallying back the Nets. What are you thinking about this series? There's a lot of question marks here about how we're going to finish up.
I'm surprised the line is really at what it's at, because we just saw the Nets win by I don't know what it ended up being last night because of fouls and all that. But
I think it was like 114 something.
Yeah, maybe
108. Is that right?
Yeah,
114, 108.
Right. Yeah. So I if I had to bet this, I'm going to be all over. I'm going to do plus 5.5 for the Nets, and I'd also probably sugar something on that plus 185 for the Nets. That last game that they lost at actually one prior to Kyrie getting hurt, it was a close game down to the wire. So I think you're kind of hedging that your plus 185 bet with the plus 5.5. I don't know how it gets there. I think we probably see James Harden. He's going to be getting back into the groove a little bit. His three-point shot was off. He started the game 0 for 4. Then it rose to 1 for 8. So he just needed, he got plenty of minutes in that game. I think you're going to start to see him be more involved in the offense. I like what they're doing with Jeff Green. Jeff Green last night I think he might have been the leading scorer of the first half, most of the first half, I guess I should say. They were sticking Giannis on him. I know Giannis called out today that he wants to defend Kevin Durant, but that's only going to help, right? And that's also just only going to take away from his production on the offensive end, and he's going to be missing probably even more free throws. So I'm all over the Nets on that one. I really like that 5.5. Shoot, if you want, buy it up a point. Then you're really looking at a great number there, I feel like, for them. So yeah, I mean, we saw down the stretch last night. I was really just shocked with Giannis's execution. We saw a late turnover where it was a great pass from Middleton, 2 feet from the basket that he should have put in, turned it over, and that's really, to me, was the nail in the coffin for them. He went to the line a few times, couldn't hit clutch free throws.
Doesn't matter.
And personally, I don't know how much coaching Steve Nash really has to do with this roster he has assembled, but
Shoot.
He's doing, yes. But in my opinion, he's doing a lot better than Budenholzer. And I think that this is going to be the Nets series. I like them to take this next game. Over, under. I'm going to go the under just because it's on the road in Milwaukee.
So the under is actually 3-0-1 in this series. So I'm all over that under as well. Give me the under the 220. I would probably still wait till tomorrow because I think that'll go up a couple of numbers, maybe up to the 224, 225. Certainly not going to go down. That's for sure. And my favorite is to buy another point on the Nets, like you said. Give me the 6.5. Maybe tomorrow I can get it to 7. Who knows? But that's my pick. I'm not actually going to touch the money line. We're still looking at a Bucks team that is great at home. Both of their wins have come from home in this series. So I still like them to potentially win tomorrow, but I'd like the Nets to finish it out. I think the Nets will keep it close. The Nets are they're 3-1 ATS, in the series. So I think there's a lot of upside for them to cover and even to win the game. I certainly know that if James Harden comes with another level up, the Bucks are in big trouble. They're in big trouble. But they will not be able to survive again, another 1 for 10 game with James Harden on the road and no Kyrie. So if we get the same James Harden from this game, I will not bet on the Nets winning in the next game. If you're going to tell me like, oh yeah, for sure he's shooting 1 for 10, 12, whatever it is, I wouldn't put my money there just because we're still looking at two really talented teams. Not betting on the Bucks though. To me, the Nets are still just a better shooting team. We've seen them down by huge margins in games, and they just rally back. And to me, that's the biggest fault of the Bucks is their shot selection, specifically Giannis. He's shooting 29% from 3-point line, 63% from the free throw line. Dude, make your free throws. Stop shooting 3-pointers. Keep it simple. Don't try to back down James Harden. Drive him to the floor, sir. Come on. Play like you got a pair. I don't understand this guy. They start these games off like they're just playing carefree basketball. Everything's working in motion. They're looking smooth. They're hitting their jump shots. Giannis is, slamming things down for dunks, going to the line, getting and ones. Second quarter comes around. Bye. They just start to fade away. I don't know what it is. They're always off to these great starts, and then they just become a shell of themselves. And I hate to always use that reference, but it's literally like we see one team night and then day. It's completely ridiculous. I think they have a shot to win tomorrow at home. That's the only advantage I'm giving them is they're playing at home. Giannis has to stop shooting threes. He has to start making his free throws. And Chris Middleton needs more efficiency shooting. Like, he's scoring a lot, but he's also taking a lot of shots. And he is a part of that too. That shot selection issue where they just go on these god awful runs. They just do it every single game. About just started the second quarter to midway through the third quarter, and the scoring is there down the stretch, but it hasn't been in the games where they've lost. Obviously, without Kyrie, can they win the East? The Nets.
Honestly, with how this Sixers and Hawks series is kind of shaking out, I'm still convinced that they could probably do it. They need James Harden to really be 100% or even 95% healthy, because they will need, Joe Harris is going to have to play a big part in it. Because shooting is something that the Sixers can't necessarily do. And then when we see Kevin Durant in that next level of what we saw last night of 49, damn near 50 if he would have made that late free throw, and 17-10. Yeah, is he going to replicate that every game? No. But he is otherworldly when you're watching him shoot, because he had, some of the shots that he was taking were well-contested shots, but when Kevin Durant is so damn tall, and then when he's taking, in his shooting motion, he's even taller, so literally he looks unfazed when he's taking on,
and the wingspan, just his long ass arms in general. He can go over the top of anybody,
and he makes it just look effortless. So I like them still to be able to. I think they need, if they watch enough tape on the Sixers series, I do still think they have a chance for it without Kyrie.
PJ Tucker done messed up. You don't get in that man's face like that, PJ Tucker. I don't care how good a defense you think you're playing, sir. There's plenty more games to play. There's a lot more minutes to go. PJ Tucker, you done fucked up, sir. You done fucked up. All right, so I think we're still both taking the Nets in this series. I do like there's some upside for the Bucks in this next game, but absolutely not. Game 7, I'm telling you, if there's no James Harden in Game 7, if it's only Kevin Durant, I'm still taking the Nets. They're not going to lose in Brooklyn. I'm going to call it right there.
I agree 100%.
All right, let's move on here. We got a couple of more news tidbits, and then we'll jump into some live action here for the Sixers and the Atlanta Hawks. First up, we've got the Suns advancing to the Western Conference Finals, but we're missing Chris Paul. So information dropped at kind of different points today. First, we find out he's got, he's in COVID protocol. So people are kind of assuming like, hey, Chris Paul, you done fucked up. You got COVID. What the hell, man? But then we find out that he's got the shot. He got his Pfizer shot. Now it's sounding like, he's probably going to be back. Worst case scenario, he only misses one game. So it kind of went from like news to snooze pretty quickly, as we like to say here over at the Hizzy. But is this going to play an effect? Like, let's say he misses 2 games in the Western Conference Finals, and let's say it's the Jazz, we're interpreting. Is that a problem?
I do think it is, because Jazz will have the home court advantage, correct? Higher seed.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's kind of what I was getting at. So if he misses the first 2 games, he's only missing the first 2 road games.
Yes, but I think, and it is, you always hear they got to steal one on the road. And I think that is where, you start a series 2-0, and I know we've seen some teams this year come back from a 2-0 deficit. This Jazz team is really, really good. I think they should and we'll touch on it later based on oh wait, no, we don't even have Western Conference future bets out.
They pulled it because of Chris Paul.
Yeah, and I'm sure also with the Clippers, with Kawhi, with what's ever in question with him. But I still think the Jazz are my favorite to probably make it out of there if Chris Paul can't play those first 2 games. They're too good, so I'm not all over that. I think maybe 1 game, different story. Hopefully no games. Because I personally would be rooting for the Suns. I like everything about them. I've uniformed, whatever it is. Their vibe is just very, very good. So I think if he misses 2 games, it's kind of nail in the coffin. They're probably done.
All right, let's say it is the 1 game, because realistically, the 1 game is what I'm anticipating. He could be back, they're saying, as early as 10 days. And I still don't even know, like, if he has COVID or if he just came in contact with someone who does.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I
don't know how that works. And then we've seen sometimes we're testing, who knows if there's been flaws, I think, shown that they're, maybe who knows? I mean, COVID's literally a mystery to me. I don't know how you get it, whatever. But
dabbing up with the wrong people, man. Don't
I was
dab
shocked.
Up with the wrong folk.
That's fair. I was kind of shocked that when the news came across, I feel like we hadn't heard of anyone having to sit out for COVID in quite a while. I mean, Zach LaVine. I was going to say that was the last one I really heard that had to miss significant time with it. So pray that the Clippers aren't in that case where I feel like Zach LaVine missed literally like a month.
It was 14 days. It was 14 days.
Oh, it had to have been a little bit more than that. It felt like an eternity.
It was 14 days, and he was fine. I think it felt like an eternity because he's like, guys, like, I'm good. Like, I'm fine. This is shit. Like, I want to play, and they're just not letting me play. But the NBA has taken a lot of pride in being the league that has handled COVID the best. They did the bubble. That was a huge success. And I feel like, they really want to get it right. And unfortunately, I was just going to say, unfortunately, that could have negative effects on Chris Paul. I don't know what the dude has to do to get in a championship position. Like, he's trying to get traded to the Lakers. The league was like, nah, sorry, bud. Veto.
I feel so bad for him.
He made it to the conference finals. The league said, veto. Like, you're done. We're shutting you down. You're linked up with someone with COVID. You're out of here. It's just going to be 1 game, I really think. But I wanted to ask about the 2 because I think that's like kind of like the most drastic situation. And I don't think the league wants that. I think they just like feel like, hey, like we can't go by the wayside of our rules and our regulations here. And isn't Chris Paul like in charge of like the Players Association?
Yeah, he's the player. Yeah, president of the Players Association.
That's not the guy you want to mess up with. You know what I mean? Like if that's the case, that's not the guy that you want to toe the line with. Because what if he did have it somehow? I mean, I know it's like a super low percentage to get your shot and then get COVID, but it can happen. It's not out of this world or not a reality that we live in right now. So hopefully everything just kind of smooths out. It's kind of felt that way as the day has gone along. Like, I know Jalen Rose got on ESPN. It's like, he's not going to miss a single game. I was like, I don't know.
Well,
one game seems a little fair.
I also think they're probably hoping that this Clippers Jazz game goes 7. Their team's getting the extra rest, and
it could be. We could be looking at the Western Conference Finals game 1, like as early as Monday or Tuesday. So if that's the case, if we're looking at like a Monday, Wednesday, game 1 and 2, today's Wednesday, that's only 7 days. Like,
yeah.
I think that.
I heard though the quarantine period, if you've been vaccinated, is a shorter window. It's not 14 days.
I don't know what it is.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I did see that report from someone on ESPN. It's from Shams. If you're a vaccinated person, your quarantine time is less. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, who knows with COVID? This shit's kind of crazy.
It really is. All right. Based on some of the injuries that we've seen, how do you think that we should be reacting to the adjusted playoff odds right now? For the East, to come out of the East, we're looking at the Nets minus 140, the 76ers plus 280, the Bucks plus 390, and the Atlanta Hawks plus 1800. Isn't that crazy? The Atlanta Hawks are still tied in the series. I mean, they're losing big right now. We'll get to the live betting here soon, but man, plus 1800, that's pretty brutal. I don't think either of us are laying any action there, but are you concerned at all about like Embiid being hurt for like the 76ers, like in the next round? Same thing with the Nets. They're still the favorite despite not really knowing what's going on with Kyrie, not knowing what we're going to get from Harden going forward. I feel like the Nets should, I wouldn't be jumping on the minus 140 anytime soon.
No,
I don't like
I mean, unless you are, if you're betting big, then yeah, you're not too worried about the juice you're losing there. Right. And you're obviously super confident in the Nets. I'm personally, I would not be touching it. If I had to pick one from here, I'm probably taking the Sixers just because I think they're going to move on. That's what we think. You're getting it at plus 280, which is a good number right now. And if it is the Sixers, that I mean, does the Nets have enough? I think we're both assuming they kind of move on from this. They don't have a big guy that's going to be down there and physical and, pushing Embiid to that limit. So I just think I like that value a lot, and I'm staying away from the rest of them personally.
Right, yeah, and that's right where I was going to go. It is the plus 280. Let's say Embiid misses some time though. I mean, and they're playing the Nets in the finals, and let's say no Kyrie. Let's say no Kyrie. Let's say Durant. They've got Harden taking on 76ers with a Joel Embiid-less roster. That's
I think that's fair. I mean, I wouldn't even be shocked if Embiid's hurt, then yeah, I would say Nets in 6. I think that I'd agree with that. And that's assuming that what's his name? James Harden is, on the more end of being healthy. I don't want to sing at 70% or anything. Like, he needs to be up there 90, 95 would be amazing. And that plays a big role in it. So, I mean, really, we just got to see how all of this progresses. And if Brooklyn can close out that series tomorrow, then it'll be a little bit better for them because they'll have a little added rest.
Right. Absolutely. All right, so to win the championship, to win the NBA Finals, we got the Brooklyn Nets plus 175, Jazz at plus 240, Suns with the Chris Paul news, again, plus 425, 76ers plus 750. That 76ers is just staring at me, plus 750.
I mean, hey, I do like the value for what you're getting there. I'm just not convinced on them personally. Let's
say best situation in my opinion is they draw the Suns. Can they beat the Suns?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Because of where each team is currently. We're seeing the Sixers not peaking, or not necessarily peaking, but crescendoing at the right time. And you're seeing a Suns team who is firing on all cylinders. They looked great in that thing. They're playing some of their best basketball that they could ask for. So for the number at plus 750, it's worth a shot on the Sixers right now. The two that are really staring me in the face though, Utah Jazz at plus 240, great number. Phoenix Suns plus 425. You're going to have to kind of roll the dice right now with there's obviously no Chris Paul, and we don't know what's going to do with that. But hey, gambling's about taking risks. So those are the two that really, really stared at me. I'm probably saying the Jazz is more of a lock to me.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say too. The Jazz is like the most appealing one based off of odds, like what we realistically anticipate. But for value, the 76ers at plus 750, I just cannot stop staring at that. Oh my goodness. I mean, the teams behind them, the Bucks, Clippers, and Hawks, they have great odds too, but we're not betting them to win their series, their games, and their next games, whatever it is. So obviously we're not going to be in on them. But yeah, 76ers at plus 750. I mean, if they made it plus 760, I'd probably buy it. But I'm not going to. Yeah, give me the Jazz at plus 240. Maybe just hedge the two because you're getting such big separation. You just throw both of those guys in there. So I'd like to see that. All right, last up, before we get into the live betting action and close it down, just a little prop that betonline.ag is thrown out there. If Damian Lillard were to be traded, the odds favorites of where he would land. So realistically, just who you like. I'm not saying that we got to win the bet here, but the teams that are listed, the odds favorite, you're looking at the New York Knicks, wow, plus 250, 76ers plus 275 also. Miami Heat, meh, plus 300. Lakers, meh, plus 350. Clippers, plus 400. And the Boston Celtics, wish you were here, Blake, plus 450. I like the Knicks.
I do like the Knicks because I think that him and Julius Randle could really, really fit in a decent offense together. I mean, it's not too much. Their play styles are compatible, I guess you could say. So yeah, and I mean, who wouldn't want to see Damian Lillard, one of the coldest players to watch? I mean, literally, he is amazing. Honestly, I've grown to really, really care for him. So I want to see him in the Mecca. I want to see him in New York. I like do too. That.
I don't really have an argument for these other teams, maybe the 76ers if they want to build a super team. But I like the Knicks because, one, the marketability of New York. You're going to be playing in the Mecca every night. And also, you don't have to. You can sit games because it's the East.
Yeah.
You don't have to be just a dog on the floor night in and night out. Maybe he still will be. Maybe he'll still rally to that theme of himself. But you just could take nights off. You can chill a little bit. Listen to LeBron's rest theory. Make a run at it. I really like it. And to me, the Knicks, Randall didn't show up in the playoffs, but I feel like if he really has like that true shooter, that true number one ball handler, it would give him so much more upside, not to be the focal point of the offense.
Yeah. And you're going to be able to get him those touches, down low in there where he can really, and you're not running the offense. I think you even alluded to this. You're not running through the offense through him as much. Like we saw that, maybe he can't necessarily do that. It's early in his, I guess, Knicks career. So you might see him grow a little bit, especially being with Tom Thibodeau. So I like that. My biggest thing though, if I was to be betting this, I would be a little worried about, I don't know what the Knicks are going to be able to package together to do it. I'm sure people still would love to have some of their draft picks, maybe not this year, but was this kind of a fluke season? They were frauds in the playoffs, so maybe they can, do a Trailblazer or Thunder deal where they're offering picks out till 2027 or whatever it may be. So
or they just get a third team involved. You just get a third party involved, use their picks, use their talent, whatever it is, they can make it happen.
I see this Celtics one down there, Blake Celtics, but on Twitter and things, and I don't know if it's Bleacher Report, whatever it might be. I see these god awful trade packages they're putting together to get him, and I mean like Kemba Walker's thrown in there. You're telling me Kemba Walker is going to be able to, get you Damian Lillard? No shot. He is it. He's it. Just not. I mean, Kemba couldn't even play a back-to-back this year. So I don't like that. And I'd be kind of curious. Would it work? I know it will, but Jason Tatum and him, I don't necessarily know how they sync together. I'm just not sold on that.
Yeah, the Celtics are not the odds favorite for a reason. They're at the very bottom. I would not agree with that. And there's plenty of teams that aren't on this list that I would see. Go to the Bulls, bud. Wouldn't happen. I like the Miami Heat just for the sake of the location. Maybe he wants to go down to Miami, have a good time. Again, you're in the East. You can take a some time off. You don't have to play night in and night out. I know they really need it at the position. The Knicks, they have some guys there, Alfred Payton. Who is the other one? I don't know why it's not coming to me.
Manuel quickly.
Thank you. It was on the tip of my tongue as you said it. Manuel quickly, Alfred Payton, Derrick Rose. Obviously, they've got a lot to manage there, but Derrick Rose is a free agent, I believe. So they don't necessarily have to bring him back. Would love to see Dame at the Mecca. Would love it. I'm a big Dame guy. I don't lose sleep much nights when the NBA season's going because he's on my fantasy team like every year. So it's good stuff. All right, let's get to the live betting, and then we will head out of here. Appreciate everybody who has rode with us so far tonight. If you haven't already, please be sure to smash the like button, share the video, and follow us on youtube.com/take it to the Hizzy. All right, right now we've got a 40-27 lead for the 76ers. Nice little 13-point margin with 9:20 left to go in the second quarter, in the first half. 12.5 point spread here. You like the Hawks to cover? I like the Hawks to cover 12.5.
Yes, I do like them to cover it, but I'm not betting that. I'm staying away.
Not betting it live? Okay. I'll put some gas on it. I like the plus 12.5. I'll throw a nice little $10 on it. It's paying minus 115. It's even money both ways. What about the total of 220? We are looking at a 67-point total. Hold that. Still 67-point total with 8:40 left to go in the first half. It looks like it's going to go over.
I would say no. Yeah, I think you got to go over there.
Sorry, I was looking at a basket. Looks like the Hawks are going to the free throw line, maybe down 29-40. We'll see here. Yeah, I like that over. Certainly not predicting the pregame number correctly. They just dropped it to 219.5. I think the over is a smash. I'll take that all day. Moneyline, we're looking at plus 505 for the Hawks.
Moneyline? Yes, I'm staying far away from that.
Yeah, I don't trust them to win the game still. Philly off to a great start. I do think Atlanta will find their stroke here. They'll keep it close. I still think they can even cover the 7, to be honest with you. They're still not that far off of it. They're down by 12 now. So yeah, I think they can still cover the 7.5 and late in the game. We're going to see what comes with Trey here. It's an injured shoulder. It's not the same as leaning on one leg for Embiid. So it's going to be interesting down the stretch. Looks like, I don't know who went to the free throw line, but they split their free throw, so they're down 12. I'll give you the last possession here, and then we'll call it. Drive to the paint for, I think that was Maxey. Got some bench players on the floor here for the 76ers. Just working around, 7 on the shot clock, pick and roll. Hill throws it up, nothing. I think he's going to the line. So, yeah, it was a good show, sir. You got anything to close it down with?
Yeah, if any viewers like baseball, I got a no runs first inning. That really gets the heart going. It's just adrenaline right there. Dodgers,
I like it.
Dodgers versus Phillies. You got Clayton Kershaw versus Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler has been cashing these bets like no other. So hey, if you're degenerate like myself, hey, go out and bet it.
I won't bet on baseball. I can't do it, Steve. Although I have heard that the favorites in baseball, listen to a lot of gambling information out there. The favorites in baseball are hitting like 58% so far this season. That's profit.
Yeah. So, I was gonna say 58%. I think the rate that's good. Like right at the rate that you have to hit to be a successful bettor.
56.5.
56. Yeah, 56. You knew 5. It. Hey, so you're a degenerate just like me.
Sound off. All right. Take care, everybody. Be well, be good. And if you can't be good at it. We'll see you. Take care.